Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Are you tired of the same old blah, 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 blah from the media? Do you like unfiltered commentary? Would you like to go back to the days when our rights meant something? Well, you've come to the right place, Crisco's Corner. The fight to get back the ideals of our founders will be long and hard. Please support the channel by subscribing. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi folks, welcome back to Crisco's Corner from trulytimes.com. You apparently changed them. Rand Paul grills HHS nominee Rachel LEVINE over parental consent for trans minors. Now, her name is, I'll say her to be respectful, Dr. Rachel LEVINE, not Devin. But that's besides the point. Let's proceed down here a little bit. I'm going to give you the story here, and then I'm going to show you the clip. It's about 5 minutes long of Senator Rand Paul talking to Dr. LEVINE and the questions that he asked. On Thursday, Senator Rand Paul grilled. I don't know about grilled is proper, but I think it was more than a legitimate question, considering the fact that Dr. LEVINE is trans and a doctor and wants to be the Assistant Secretary of HHS. That's Health and Human Services Assistant for the entire United States. Grilled President Biden's nominee for Assistant Health and Secretary, Rachel LEVINE, on whether minor children should be allowed to make irreversible, life-changing decisions over their gender. LEVINE, a transgender biological male and former pediatrician. Think that in mind now when you see this clip. Former pediatrician, so is very knowledgeable about physical and mental health of children. Refused to answer the question twice, instead suggesting that transgender medicine is a complex and nuanced field and that she would be open to a private discussion. Now, I'm not going to go through this whole thing here, but I want you, before I cut away and show you the video, I want you to think about this. I know millions of people voted for Joe Biden, and I know millions of people that did vote for Joe Biden are not all what I would call crazy progressive leftists. My guess of the Democrat Party is probably about a third, maybe 25%. Of you other 75% of Democrats, I want you to look at this video, and then decide, was the hatred for Donald Trump and the longing to go back to normal, to have the chaos of all the rioting nationwide in major cities, the lockdowns because of COVID-19, and all the things you wanted? I know instinctively people don't want chaos. They don't want huge change. They want their lives to go back to normal and live their lives. And many millions of Biden voters, I think, voted for Biden because they would assume that would happen. Now we're seeing not. Now, is this in itself the end of the world? Well, for some it might be. But overall, no. But it's a mindset of progressivism that's a cancer. And it isn't just Dr. LEVINE. It's all the progressives and leftists that Joe Biden has put in the White House to pick and choose all the cabinet posts to make all the policy. He doesn't make policy, they do. And if he's making this policy, he's not the Joe Biden that was in the Senate for decades. Something's happened to him. This is outrageous. So I'm going to show you the video now. It's about 5 minutes and change long. And then I'm going to go back and give you my thoughts and tell you what I think you should think about.
Genital mutilation has been nearly universally condemned. Genital mutilation has been condemned by the WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, the United Nations Population Fund. According to the WHO, Genital mutilation is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. Genital mutilation is considered particularly egregious because, as the WHO notes, it is nearly always carried out on minors and is a violation of the rights of children. Most genital mutilation is not typically performed by force, but as WHO notes, that by social convention, social norm, the social pressure to conform, to do what others do and have been doing, as well as the need to be accepted socially and the fear of being rejected by the community. American culture is now normalizing the idea that minors can be given hormones to prevent their biological development of their secondary sexual characteristics. Dr. Levine, you have supported both allowing minors to be given hormone blockers to prevent them from going through puberty, as well as surgical destruction of a minor's genitalia. Like surgical mutilation, hormonal interruption of puberty can permanently alter and prevent secondary sexual characteristics. The American College of Pediatricians reports that 80 to 95% of prepubertal children with gender dysphoria will experience resolution by late adolescence if not exposed to medical intervention and social affirmation. Dr. Levine, do you believe that minors are capable of making such a life-changing decision as changing one's sex?
Well, Senator, thank you for your interest in this question. Transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field with robust research and standards of care that have been developed. And if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of Health, I would look forward to working with you and your office and coming to your office and discussing the particulars of the standards of care for transgender medicine.
The specific question was about minors. Let's be a little more specific since you evaded the question. Do you support the government intervening to override the parent's consent to give a child puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and/or amputation surgery of breasts and genitalia? You have said that you're willing to accelerate the protocols for street kids. I'm alarmed that poor kids with no parents who are homeless and distraught, you would just go through this and allow that to happen to a minor. I would hope that you would have compassion for Kira Bell, who's a 23-year-old girl who was confused with her identity. At 14, she read on the internet about something about transsexual. She thought, well, maybe that's what I am. She ended up getting these puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones. She had her breasts amputated. But here's what ultimately she says now. And this is a very insightful decision from someone who made a mistake but was led to believe this was a good thing by the medical community. I made a brash decision as a teenager, as a lot of teenagers do, trying to find confidence and happiness, except now the rest of my life will be negatively affected, she said, adding that the medicalized gender transitioning was a very temporary, superficial fix for a very complex identity issue. What I'm alarmed at is that you're not willing to say absolutely minors shouldn't be making decisions to amputate their breast or to amputate their genitalia. For most of our history, we believe that minors don't have full rights and the parents need to be involved. So I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field, and if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER, but you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? You give a woman testosterone enough that she grows a beard, do you think she's going to go back looking like a woman when you stop the testosterone? You have permanently changed them. Infertility is another problem. None of these drugs have been approved for this. They're all being used off-label. I find it ironic that the left that went nuts over hydroxychloroquine being used possibly for COVID are not alarmed that these hormones are being used off-label. There's no long-term studies. We don't know what happens to them. We do know that there are dozens and dozens of people who've been through this who regret that this happened and a permanent change happened to them. And, you know, if you've ever been around children, 14-year-olds can't make this decision. In the gender dysphoria clinic in England, 10% of the kids are between the ages of 3 and 10. We should be outraged that someone's talking to a 3-year-old about changing their sex. I can't vote for you if you can't.
Thank you so much, Senator Paul. Senator Levine, thank you for answering the question. I will turn to Senator Baldwin.
Okay. You saw that video. You saw the exchange. Rand Paul was being more than fair. I should say Senator Paul, to be respectful, was being more than fair to Dr. Levine. Or Levine, I'm not sure how she pronounced it, and I'll say she out of personal respect, even though Dr. Levine will always be a biological male. This is what these people believe. And by her not answering the question, I want you to think about this for a minute. Normally in a video like this or a podcast, you wouldn't want to have a long pause, really long pause to think about things. Usually at the end of the video, you'll give it some, whatever the topic was, you'll give it some consideration and think about it. But I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to take 10 seconds. I want all you Biden voters to think about the next time you vote, whether it's for Biden or any other Democrat, this is in part of what you're voting for. Now, did you know that this is what you were voting for? Probably not. Probably not. But some of you did because you just wanted the chaos to end and Donald Trump to go. Voting is an incredible responsibility and obligation, I think, to do the best you can to pick the right candidate for the country. Now, pause for 10 seconds. I'm going to pause. And I want you to think about this video you just saw. Well, there you have it. Think about what you just saw. It's what you voted for. Maybe next time you won't let your emotions get the best of you. Instead of voting out of anger, you'll vote out of intelligence. And until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.